Hi, everybody. Welcome to Things I Appreciate. And today I'm going to read a children's book. And I've always enjoyed reading to children, even when I was a child myself. And today's book was recommended by one of my favorite YouTubers, Cheer Denise, and she does book reviews, and she is so freaking good at them, and she always has great insight and wisdom to share while she talks about all the books. Not just children's books, she's done a whole variety of books. And there's a link in the description below. And by the way, I'm going to read this fresh. I've never read this book before, nor even heard of it. And it's really quite pretty. All right, Peter's Old House. In our village, at the end of our street, there was a little old house which was slightly falling down. A man called Peter lived there. Peter had once been a sailor, and he could speak lots of languages. So when visitors came from all around the world, Peter came to speak to them and help them in Russian and German and Spanish and English and French and goodness knows what else. Peter had sailed all over the world in big ships and small boats, far across the seas and oceans. He used to tell us stories about everything he'd seen. His stories were full of elephants and gorillas, coconut trees and volcanoes. We loved listening to Peter's stories. Peter was also a musician. He could play the flute and the mandolin, and he had a zither, which has strings a bit like a guitar. He could also whistle lots of tunes, and when he whistled just like the birds, they would come to him. All sorts of birds liked Peter, from gulls and cormorants to ducks and geese and terns. They would fly down or waddle up and take little fish right from his hand. Some of them even perched on his shoulder. Another thing Peter could do was make sailing boats. He made them out of wood, sewed the sails himself, and rigged them up. They were the best boats in the world. We would all stand around watching and wondering whose turn it was to have the new boat. When the boat was finished, we all went down to the water and launched it. If it sailed well, Peter then decided whom to give it to. Once it went to a boy who didn't have many toys. He was very pleased, and for a week or two he was the proudest of us all. Peter was also our doctor. Holy crap, is there anything Peter can't do? If you fell over and hurt your leg, Peter would bandage it up for you. People in our village also used to bring their sick animals to Peter, goats and chickens and lambs, and he would make them better. It was the same with clocks or locks. If something needed mending, people said, "Take it to Peter, he'll fix it." So Peter was always busy, helping people and mending things and making people better. But Peter was very poor because nobody ever paid Peter for his work, and so his little old house was nearly falling down. Oh no, Peter. One evening, Peter was sitting outside his house making a boat for one of us. A stern-looking man in a uniform appeared. He carried a big stick, and he looked cross. "I'm sorry to say that your house is too old and falling down," he said sternly to Peter. "It spoils the whole street. If you don't get it mended by next week, we'll have to pull it down." Peter didn't know what to do. He didn't have any money to buy the things he needed to mend his house. The next day, all the children got together, and we thought hard about what to do. Charlie, the carpenter's son, was there, and Ken, the bricklayer's son, and me, Rob, the painter's son. "Peter has always helped us," we said. "Now it's our turn to help him." Lena and Lucy, the two wagon drivers' daughters, said they would help too. The next morning, everyone went to Peter's house and brought things with them. We had bricks in a small cart, nails and tools in a wheelbarrow, and Lena and Lucy's father brought wood on his horse-drawn wagon. He also had a ladder, some sand, and cement. Peter was very happy. He was the master builder, of course, and showed us all what to do. We put new shutters on his house and painted them green. We took off the old roof tiles and began to build the chimney with new bricks. Len's father, the blacksmith, made a new weather vane. Charlie's father, the carpenter, made a dovecote, I hope I said that right, which we painted red and blue and fixed it to the roof. I guess that's a birdhouse, according to the illustration. Inside the house, we papered the walls and painted the kitchen blue, the brightest blue my father could find. And then we started on the outside walls. We put shiny new red tiles on the roof, and Ken, the bricklayer's son, made sure they were straight. We finished the chimney, and Len, the blacksmith's son, hammered the metal edge his father had given him. We finished painting the outside walls in bright yellow paint. Last of all, we mended the garden gate and painted it and the fence the same green as the shutters. Peter's house was finished. We cleared away the mess, and then, to celebrate, we lifted a green wreath onto the roof. Then we had a party. Peter played his flute, and everyone came to see the house. They were astonished at how it looked. There was food and drink and dancing. It was the best topping out party we'd ever had. The next day, the man in the uniform came back. He still looked cross, but then he saw Peter's new house and he stopped. His mouth fell wide open with surprise. "What happened?" he exclaimed. "This house is now the best in the street." No one took any notice of him because Peter was rigging another boat, and this one was going to be mine. This story happened a long time ago, and Peter is no longer alive. But his house is still there at the end of our street, still bright yellow with green shutters and rosy red tiles. I'm especially proud of the paintwork because I mixed those paints myself. And this is me, Rob the painter. Oh, how sweet is that? I wish that more of that went on in our communities today. Anyway, sweet book.